if you're willing to investigate, I mean, that was where my mindset was when I was a teenager. There's gotta be a different way and I'm gonna find it. And so I investigated, I tried everything that I could find that had some resonance, that had some energy there for me. And every little thing that I tried cleared a little bit more out of the way. But I did almost die. I almost didn't make it. It was a close call. We'll just say it was a close call. But that was another initiation that was restructured my being and gave me an additional massive dose of faith and trust. I had my little sister was raped and murdered, almost 20 years ago. And that loss, that initiation was the most devastating, painful thing that had ever happened to me at that point in time. And what did it do? The ripple effect of that loss changed everyone's lives for the better. No matter how validating and inspiring and encouraging your AI agent is, it's never, ever going to be able to give you the same level of feeling witnessed and known that another human being can give you. So anything that we can do where we can connect and experience and be in a coherent field with another human being is going to be something that will be prized and treasured and valued, even more so going forward.
Hello, all beautiful people. My name is Robert Canis, and this is another Beyond the Couch podcast where we invite really amazing guests from all over the world, and we encourage them to have a beautiful, holistic conversations. Today, we have another really superbly amazing guest. Erin Telford is with us today. How you doing, Erin?
I'm so good. Thank you for calling me an amazing guest. I'll take it.
I love your smile. I love your energy. Would you be so kind and tell our viewers and listeners what you're doing for life? What are your passions?
Yeah. Ooh, are we personal and professional or just professional?
Well, whichever you like. We're very open to talk about everything and go very deep in this conversation.
Thank you. Thank you. It's interesting to name job titles, I think, because as a person who's really dedicated to growth and evolution, to pin, a name or a title on myself can feel a little limiting. I guess that's probably the same for everybody. I am a breathwork facilitator. I started doing that 10 years ago. I was an acupuncturist and Chinese herbalist before that. And so I've been facilitating breathwork for 10 years or over 10 years at this point. I train other people how to facilitate this work and how to be evolutionary space holders and to be able to facilitate as an art and to become more human literate. It can be one thing to understand a technique and know how to do it or use it, but to become human literate is something I'm much more interested in, to be able to hold human experience and to use our modalities and our art to be able to connect more deeply and understand other people more deeply and the vastness and the richness of human experience. And alongside that, as you step into your work as an art, as an embodied, like a living, breathing embodiment of who you are, you also do step into leadership because we all have a way. We all have a path that we're walking and that we're continuing to walk. And so we can show other people not the way, but a way. And so when we are facilitating healing, growth, and evolution, we are leading people to self-actualization. We're leading people forward on their path, whatever that walk might be for them and wherever they want to go, wherever they are going in their evolution. But we become leaders in that we hold the candle or we hold the flashlight or we hold the lantern of illumination, given the path we've already walked, to walk with or walk ahead of people and show them that there can be more to their current experience.
Thank you. I love the use very beautiful words to describe it. I would like to ask you how the one can simply improve quality of life, increase happiness.
Wow.
Like to do it quickly and simply, that's what people are aiming for today, right?
Yeah, I think you have to know what you like beyond what maybe to look outside of yourself for answers, to look externally for what you should need to do or should want to do in order to be happy. I think that's kind of a losing proposition because you don't get to know yourself better in the process. Happiness, I think Arthur Brooks is somebody that I recently found and that I really love. He's a Harvard professor that teaches about happiness, and he talks about fulfillment, and he talks about connection, and he talks about faith. And I think that happiness is wanting what you have and being in like continued conversation with what makes you feel more alive. And like for me, for example, I feel very alive being in a vast landscape. I just moved to the desert. I've never lived in the desert before. And it has this open feeling for me that makes me feel very open and like limitless in possibility. That brings me happiness. Me personally, that's not something that everybody needs to feel happy, but limitless possibility feels very enlivening to my spirit. So
I love that idea.
yeah. Yeah. So I think being aware of like the really tiny, small things that bring you joy, being really aware, it's like we don't have to have, there's these, big dreams and big goals and big aspirations, but I feel really happy not wearing shoes. I really
So
enjoy that.
we got the
You
same
know?
passion.
Yeah, I feel very happy being in the warmth, feeling like caressed by the sun. I love not wearing a lot of clothes. I feel happy nude sunbathing, I felt happy that I live in a place I can walk around naked in my backyard. No one sees me, in privacy. I feel happy, reading books. I feel happy having a great conversation with my mom. I feel happy feeling like I'm helpful, like I'm providing things for people. I feel happy being that my voice in any way, shape, or form is valuable or supportive or expansive for other people. So I think it's being able to look at kind of like the mundane aspects of your life and what's interesting there. It's summertime in the US, like eating a peach. That makes me happy. It's delicious. So there's the simplicity of happiness. It doesn't have to be complicated.
Yeah, I love that idea, this direction. We have recorded a podcast with Kevin, who is Buff of 5MEO
Oh,
facilitator.
yeah.
We published this podcast like 2 weeks ago. I went to Ecuador, visit him personally. Then he was in Europe. He's really an amazing persona. Um, and I asked him this question, which we always ask our guests, which is always a different question. What would be the ultimate questions you would ask yourself through us? And he said, most of all, how do you use your time on Earth? And also, he added, to keep it simple. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, I would definitely, okay. I think that keeping it simple is maybe only possible when you have metabolized a lot of the internal chaos.
Oh, I love the way you put it. It's a very beautiful
Yeah,
sentence.
because when I had a lot of grief and rage that I needed to meet and that I needed to digest, simplicity was still available, but it's a lot more available now because I can just enjoy my feet on the earth. I'm not mentally looping about anxiety. I'm not mentally looping about my self-worth. I'm not mentally looping and replaying conversations or memories with people that I'm angry at, or that if I had a second chance. I used to be really stuck in a lot of mental looping about things that were incomplete emotionally for me, and replaying memories. I used to have this thing I call it my personal torture movie. And every time I felt a new shameful experience where I felt embarrassed or less than, I would play this montage in my mind of all these other embarrassing moments. Like it was a very self-punishing, kicking myself while I was down experience. And my ability to appreciate simplicity is much easier now because I'm not fighting the demons. I'm just in the present.
So, how have you managed to transcend these inner demons and this, as you very nice put it, you were able to metabolize your inner chaos, right?
Yeah.
Have you managed it yourself? We also talk a little bit privately. You mentioned we talk about psychedelics, those beautiful plants. What kind of techniques, methods, and tools have you used to transcend those inner obstacles? We can call them different names, right?
Yeah, we can pick a lot of different names for those. You know, it's interesting because the first time that I ever experienced, the first time that I ever did mushrooms was when I was 17. And I had just left home and gone to college. And I was just starting to realize, because I'd been, marinating in my family environment when I left home for that long, that I'd done a student exchange and lived in Germany for 6 months before. But getting to college, I had a significant separation from my family of origin. And I started to realize what was mine and what was theirs and what had been put on me, and all of the way that the environment and the dysfunction had seeped into my system. And I felt depressed for the very first time in my life. Well, no, not the very first time. I realized that I was really depressed. And I was, crying every day and gray and despondent. And my wonderful roommate, who's still a friend of mine, she had, her boyfriend or some guys came up, to visit us and took us on this trip. And I was so stunned by the amount of, the words that are coming to mind right now are like sweetness in my soul that I felt. Like I felt such a bliss point and a point of connectivity to all people in my heart. And then I started exploring psychedelics. And I think the first time that I did LSD, I was with a bunch of friends and we weren't partying. We were very, it was like, Timothy Leary, like he came to speak at my college. We were reading about psychedelic material. We were reading all the beat poets and all the writers. So we weren't just trying to get effed up. We were exploring. We were trying to, set intentions. We were practicing set and setting. We were really doing it in a mindful, intentional way, even as teenagers. And so those doors of perception got blown open really early. And so I had the realization, there's more than this as a teenager. And I think that set the tone and set the stage for everything else that I had to do, because my parents wanted me to get on medication and go to therapy. And I said no. And they didn't force me. I said, that's not going to work. That's not the solution. I need to untie the knots in my psyche. I need to go into I need to go to the foundation. I need to go to the roots here. And I spent my whole life looking for the solution for that rage and that grief. And when I found breathwork, which was, 20 years later, I realized that I finally had a way to emotionally excavate all of these feelings that I didn't know where to put and how to process and what to do with. And it was just like a carving out of all of this pain. It was like I got to poke a hole in the bottom of the bucket and just start letting it drain out. And it needed to drain out for a couple of years before I was able to. It was almost literally it's reducing inflammation in your system. It's reducing the sharp edges that create the activations and the triggers. But being able to vent out and digest all of that unprocessed emotional material was what quelled that inner chaos.
Do you remember this, a first thought or this feeling within your heart that maybe we can call it a calling, that you want to be a healer, a facilitator, breath worker?
Yeah.
Did it happen overnight, or was it like a graduate process to get to that?
It was a little bit of both. And I say, I think there are so many people that are looking for their purpose and what they're supposed to be doing. And I feel like I can track it back in a way, because even as a teenager or a little girl, I was always the person that people are telling their secrets to at parties. I'm in the corner and, I've never told anyone this before. Like the amount of times I've heard I've never told anyone this before just continues on in my life. And that's kind of like a harbinger, I think, of the inevitable job. But I was actually working in luxury fashion. I was working for Prada at their corporate office, and I thought that's what I wanted to do with my life. I moved to New York and started working in luxury fashion, and it was so wildly miserable and absolutely not what I wanted to do. And I started praying on a regular basis. I was looking for a sign. I was so physically just like fatigued and incapacitated and exhausted and all these things. And I needed a way out, and I didn't know where to go. I didn't know where to look. I didn't know what to do. And I got the sign one day from a magazine article that I took home on the subway with me. And something just clicked in. And so I sent away for that. This was that acupuncture school was referenced in this article, and I sent away for the catalog, and I was reading the catalog, and I was more inspired and enlivened than I had been by anything in a long time. And it was a combination of Taoist philosophy and Chinese medicine, which I think they're kind of interchangeable. But it was it thrilled me, and I immediately sent in my transcripts and applied and got in, and that was the end of that story. That was 2006, end of 2005. Yeah, so 20 years ago. But I think it had always been in me to bear witness to people and their lives and want to know how people felt and what was going on for them, and to share human experience together. So it was just kind of the next natural progression of that into life's work.
Thank you for sharing that. I would like to ask you a little bit like a philosophical question.
Yeah.
We have this internal discussion here with a lot of friends. There's a big group of people who is creating this Beyond the Courage creation. Do you think that... what is your view of life? Do you think that life is a game? And if yes, does any rules apply to this game? I think you like the question. Look at where you're laughing.
I like the Denny rules apply part. I think when I hear the word game, it makes me think of people, my mind goes to like video game and like simulation in a way. And the idea of it being a game, there's something about that word that I don't vibe with.
Okay, we can use you can use your different word. Which
can
word
use that word.
Would be resonating with you?
We can totally use that word. But I think because I don't think of it being a game necessarily as like more of like school. I think everyone uses that word, like school.
Yeah.
And I mean, are there any rules that apply? Not really. I'll elaborate on that. Okay, so
isn't that a really a genius way to design the universe, which is a game and none of the rules apply? Because that's a very
I mean, it depends on what kind of rules we're talking about. So I'll say for like an individual life, my way of thinking about this is we have a meeting with our advisors, before we come online in this current life. We touch into what we want to learn, what we want to grow through, what we want to receive, what we want to understand more fully. And then we are given a curriculum. And the way the curriculum is presented is not necessarily delivered to us in ways that we would prefer or that would be simple or easy to get through. I think we plan in a way what is possible for us in this life and what we want to experience. And then we are presented with opportunities and obstacles to be able to grow through those things, learn those things, and overcome or conquer is not quite the right word, but to learn from, grow through, evolve from those experiences. And I think like if there was a rule, it's going to be show up to your life, no half stepping. Like be all the way in, show up to your life. But again, it's like if you don't really show up, if you, I think there's a larger amount of people in their mom's basements at this point in time. Less people are having sex than ever before. Less people are
Totally
getting
agree.
educated than ever. But that's free will. That's free will. That's no rules. You don't have to show up. I think the consequence for that is that you're probably going to have some other version of higher pitched lessons to learn in the next lifetime, if that's something that you believe. But I would say, yeah, show up, do your best, and don't hurt anybody. Those would be the primary rules. But then again, people that hurt people, we learn through that. Other people learn through that. We learn through other people's. I mean, I've had one of my biggest initiations in my lifetime was the teaching of grief. I had my little sister was raped and murdered, almost 20 years ago. And that loss, that initiation was the most devastating, painful thing that had ever happened to me at that point in time. And what did it do? The ripple effect of that loss changed everyone's lives for the better. There was the grief and the hardship and the devastation. But what we received, like grief's greatest teaching is live now. And, I was just talking on Instagram the other day about, it's like if you see the devastation that's happening out in the world and you choose to be, you choose to duck and cover and self-silence when you have a roof over your head and you have food to eat, you don't have any immediate physical threat, then what are you doing? What are you afraid of? So I think like live, show up, but we're gonna receive lessons from other people's experiences. We're gonna receive from the pain that we see out there in the world. So I think it is all a grand design, but we have free will choices about how we receive it and perceive it and what we do with it.
Yeah, I ask you that question. I have a very close friend of mine. I mentioned already about him a couple of times on the podcast. I literally call him a god. He because he bent all the rules. The way
Nice.
he lives is just unbelievable. He have this enormous courage within him to just go beyond of the beyond, and we see life as a game. Like you got those levels which you can transcend if you have this inner boldness within you.
Yeah.
And the level which we had a very interesting conversation yesterday. The level which we have reached recently is extremely complex and maybe I could say difficult, or like to go beyond that. It's really I really ask a universe for help to go beyond that, because sometimes I think that I got a little bit stuck here, although this life is beautiful and we got so many amazing things to do, and I'm superbly grateful for everything. That's why I ask you that question, because now we have this silicon way of evolution, internet, even our conversation today. You're sitting in California, I'm in Chicago, having really amazing conversation just like that, right? We can send a link to each other.
Yeah. I mean, I'm curious about what you find, what feels so complex about this particular level, because I feel like the more complex it gets externally, the more simple it gets internally.
That's
Because
a great question.
like I see the more that a certain part of life seems more geared toward digital and maybe loneliness and, I don't want to say artificial intelligence, because people are putting so many different words on the A, like people are choosing other words for the A rather than artificial. But you can still live a life where you like have chickens and have a flip phone. I think it's really our participation is our choice, whether we want to make it really complex and really complicated and really troublesome, or if we want to just do the most simple, basic human things that we've always done that make us feel alive and warm in our hearts. And yeah, I guess we can always make it more complicated if we want to, but I feel like life gives you enough complications as it is without having to like take some complications.
Yeah, I can give a couple examples if you ask
Yeah,
this
I
question.
love them.
Well,
Yeah.
even creating this podcast Beyond the Courage, we also have another one in Poland. We talk a lot about with comedians, and I love comedy.
Me too.
And yeah, we speak with them, really amazing comedians over there. Same here in States. Comedy got so complex, and there's so much abstraction within it, and it's young comedians nowadays, they have to go through really amazing, very difficult process to show up, as you said. So creating like something like Beyond the Courage is a very complex challenge. But also, when we spoke privately, I told you about kratom. I was looking for like a source of energy, some kind of a plant to find like an extra engine, and this, to power up this universe, to help body and mind have like more energy. And after 2 years of widely dancing with it, I decided, because have you heard about ibogaine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
it have started calling me very heavy like 10 months ago.
Wow.
We
Wow.
already had couple amazing guests on the podcast. I highly recommend to see these podcasts, like with Jason Grechenik and other people, Rak Razam, uh, even this amazing comedian from Australia, Nick Sun. That's another beautiful story. And I've started to contact some ibogaine centers all over the world, and I found out that I have to be off the kratom, because if you have a kratom in your system, it can cause the heart some kind of interference with your heart, and your
Yeah.
heart may even stop during the session with iboga.
Yeah.
So getting off such a powerful plant which has 60 alkaloids, like coffee has only one, which is caffeine. Yerba mate has four,
Oh,
and kratom has 60 alkaloids. So
it's
our
wild.
body and mind loves it so much, and as I told you, it took me like almost 3 months to get off it. And that's maybe one example of this complexity, because from life is trying to help you, the universe is trying to help you, and then you have to transcend this, go
Yeah.
through some huge process.
Yeah. But I mean, it's like, again, the way that the universe delivers, it's going to be, in my experience, it's usually in ways that you don't prefer. So, whether the huge experience that you have to get through is a divorce or a loss of a child, or, a terminal illness or a accident, or a cancellation or a natural disaster, it's like they're going to come in a lot of different shapes. And what we have to do and what we have to find within ourselves is always going to be the way through.
Yeah, I also experienced these, like you said, you lost your sister.
Yeah.
I Two of my brothers already went to the other side of the mirror.
Damn.
One had only 5 weeks. He had a heart failure. Second one was 31, and he had a bicycle accident.
Oh,
But
that's so sad.
that's the way he loved to live. So my approach to death is completely different than in Western world. I don't see it as something bad or some kind of a ending. I see it as a process, like
Yeah,
just a process. So, like
absolutely.
for my mom, she still couldn't process this. For me, it was surprisingly relatively easy to accept that.
I feel like it's definitely different when it's a brother or a sibling rather than a child. I mean, no matter how philosophical you are, the
Yeah.
connection with something that was like lived inside your body is different. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, what helped me a lot, I've been reading this book 15 years ago, which is called Awaking by Anthony de Mello. Do you know this book?
I think I do know it. I haven't read it. Yeah.
Yeah. And there is this famous sentence in this book: the all root of sorrow is attachment to the desire unrooting the sorrow is dropping the attachment. It took me 10 years to understand it. And then I dropped the attachment, and when I've done this, that maybe that's why it was way easier for me, because I didn't have this attachment to my brothers.
Yeah.
I mean, I love them, and I still see them as a family, but it's a huge process, like work with our ego.
Well, I think it's, to me, to be human is to be attached. That's part of why we're here. Like, you can't love without attachment. You can't love with neutrality. I mean, you can, but like your partner, your child. But I think you can hold both poles. You can hold the, for me with my sister, part of it was having to come to terms with what it might have felt like for her to die, because it was violent, because there was pain involved. And just the grief and the loss, to be human is to grieve when there is loss, and also understand that death is not the end. Like, I can hold that pull, but also understand that death is not the end. She becomes a guide for me in the afterlife. She's someone I can still talk to and connect with. Her soul is never lost. We're all still here.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And, and to know that the relationship continues, and that her, to me, when I think about like the fabric, the weaving of humanity, it's like, again, her death was part of many people's awakening moment. Whether it's a war that's an awakening moment, or a death that's an awakening moment, or falling in love is an awakening moment, or having your first child is an awakening moment. The delivery mechanism of all of these things that initiate us can be unexpected, but it produces, and it gives so much. So I think that like the impact, I know that part of her soul contract was to create profound, intense relationships with many people, to impact communities, and then to leave. And then what we had to do with that, and the gift that she gave us of never knowing how many days we have left, so we better use them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it's both things.
I would like to come back to this, the question, the subject we talk about, happiness.
Yeah.
So from your perspective, what you said is, for you, it's relatively very easy to find happiness within small things.
Yeah.
So why do you think there is so many people with anxiety, depression out there? If we especially if we live in America, there's there's really huge amount of abundance available for people.
Yeah. I think people just have unprocessed emotional material. Depression. We all learn how to adapt our personalities and mask feelings and quell needs and self-silence and self-censor, not through just through our family of origin. We learn that shape-shifting, and we learn to play down the things that don't get us love, and we learn to play up the things that do get us love. And then we carry those personality adaptations and those defense mechanisms into our adult life. And we are still living under kind of like the tyranny of what was programmed into us in childhood. And so if you're depressed, you've got a lot of sadness that you haven't excavated yet. If you're anxious, you've got a lot of stuff that you're not willing to face. There's fear underneath there. There's conversations that need to be had. There's actions that need to be taken. And so the lid on the pot is the anxiety or the depression, but it's like we have to be willing to go underneath the surface and do the work that's ours to do, or else we're just going to stay in the same emotional tone for forever. And then search out, oh, maybe I need a supplement. Maybe I need this therapist, this healer, this vacation, this retreat. But looking externally is really never going to give you the satisfaction or the solution. That phrase, feel it to heal it, is so overused, but it's like we have this vault of unprocessed emotional material. it's confrontational. I didn't want to do it. It's painful. Like deep healing is painful and uncomfortable. Even if you're going to take an ibogaine journey, I've heard what that's like. It's not fun, I don't think. Might be, got to walk through the fire to get to the other side. And I think people don't have enough physical, emotional, and spiritual reserve, or they don't have the right person that can walk down the path with them, or they don't know that it's available for them. But I worked, when I was an acupuncturist and I was working in Manhattan, everyone was on an antidepressant and everyone was still depressed. And then they were just adding additional medications to that cocktail, but they weren't going towards what they actually needed to deal with to get to the source or to the root of it.
So basically, in Western world, people use external tools to
solve internal problems.
Yes, to solve internal problems, which doesn't work, right?
No, it's just a Band-Aid.
Okay, so how the one can start this inner healing? I find this information that you also help people find an inner wisdom within them, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, the primary tool that I use is breathwork. That's not the only solution. It's a way. I mean, I trust that people are going to find, if you're willing to investigate. I mean, that was where my mindset was when I was a teenager. There's got to be a different way, and I'm going to find it. And so I investigated. I tried everything that I could find that had some resonance, that had some energy there for me. And every little thing that I tried cleared a little bit more out of the way. The breath work was the big banger. That was the big key that unlocked it, because that was really, I was looking for a way to get the emotions out that I couldn't move any other way. But I think you have to, I think unfortunately what happens to a lot of people is that when they're in a place of despair, or if they're in a place of a familiar place of continued depression and anxiety or unhappiness or lack of satisfaction, you usually have a lot of people around you that feel that same way or having that same experience. It's like attracts like. And, someone like you or me who were in like continuous exploration, and we're looking, we're seeking, we're wanting to find, new ideas, new opportunities, new ways that we can like open up more portals in our mind and our hearts and in our lives. If you have that mindset, if you have that frame that there's something, I don't want to say something more or something better, but it's like if you're miserable, I hope you're looking for a solution. But not everybody is. Because it might just seem like that's just how it is. That's just how life is. That's just how the world is. That can be a common mindset. The water cooler, the 9-to-5 water cooler talk, like, yeah, my husband's an asshole. I'm exhausted. Kids are sick. What'd you watch on TV? Whatever kind of, mental space that is. I think people find other people that reflect back to them that there isn't anything better, and that there is no other way. And that's a little bit of that like victim mentality. Life sucks.
Yeah, like we had this discussion in the last couple of days that referring to life as a game. Did people go from one level to another? Mm-hmm. But I think it is really doable, because everything is possible. That we can even change the game which we play.
Yeah, you can.
Completely. Like start playing completely different game, being human.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think the only missing thing there is the spark. You have to have that impulse, that impetus, and that can only be found within you. But once you find it, all bets are off. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, because some people play this game 9-to-5, miserable life, and they just try to go from Monday to Friday, hoping for the weekend, and
right.
And that's their game, and this game is not going to change if.
But also, I'll say this one thing. I don't know if are you familiar with Jose Stevens from the Power Path? Do you know this guy?
No.
So I'm sure other people have said things in similar ways. So you've probably heard this before, but this was something that gave me great comfort because there was a point in my life when I was looking outside and I was like wanting to shake people, and be like, "Can't you see this?" And then he presented this idea of soul ages. I'd never heard of soul ages before. And so, the idea that we all have different mileage on the sacred clock. And when we come in, the less lifetimes you've lived, you gravitate more towards black and white solutions and authoritarian rule. And the more you progress with multiple lifetimes, when you earn and learn and evolve more, then things widen out for you. And then the idea of it being a game that can be played at infinite levels becomes a possibility. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's like every version of human is needed here on the planet. I need to be me and you need to be you. And someone needs to work at Visa in a cubicle,
Yes.
Because I need them to handle my shit, Someone, so but we need a lot of participants, and we need a lot of participants at different levels, and not everyone's at the correct level for them. So I don't want to, talk. I don't want to talk, like speak down about other people that have chosen a certain form, way of living their life, because as long as they're happy, as long as that brings them joy and they're satisfied, then that's a beautiful thing. My choices may not suit them, their choices may not suit me, but I think it's the people that know that therethere's more and they're too scared to do anything about it. Those are the ones that get me at this point in time. Because I'm like, you see, but your fear is overriding possibility.
Mm-hmm. I just came recently to this realization that there's way, way more than I thought before. Way more. That's
so. How'd you get there? How did you find that realization?
I think that psychedelics, those beautiful, amazing plants, help a lot. We do a lot of heroic sessions, and we exchange information with each other.
Nice.
Like really crazy heroic sessions where you almost like become an energy and you blend with, you go like beyond the body and the mind. And usually those sessions are extremely challenging. And during this session you want to like murder this mushroom or this plant, but then when you stop, it took me like, I don't know, maybe 50-60 sessions to realize that I shouldn't fight with this, just work with it.
Right, because you chose it. Yeah,
the mushroom told me, don't be like this embryon position, scared, just stand up and look me straight in the eyes. I want to work with you. I want to exchange, experiences of our species or whatever. And then really interesting things start to happen, like blowing.
Yeah.
That's why I want to go to experience Iboga, because that's a really interesting technology. We can call it maybe technology or a tool.
Sure.
Most people I spoke with, they said this is not a psychedelic. This is something way beyond. This is more like a dissociant. It is dissociating you from your body and your mind. And a lot of people call it a near-death experience.
Mm-hmm.
I just had this superbly interesting conversation with Tobias Ernie. We haven't published this podcast yet. I think he's German, and he took flow doses of Iboga like 50 times, and he's done it himself at home, which we highly do not recommend it. No. He was working in some Switzerland. He was even had this chance to meet Albert Hoffman and Sasha Shulgin. Those are really legends.
Yeah.
And they had access to a lot of molecules over there in the institute.
Uh-huh.
And that's how his addiction to opioids, to heroin, started.
Wow. Okay.
And then his boss came to him and said, "Hey, you you do the good work, but you come so high to work, maybe we should do something about it. He said that story on the podcast. That's why I'm sharing it. So
Yeah.
He started to work with Iboga, and I can share that's a really amazing story with you, with whoever be listening us. That he ordered a lot of Iboga online, but do not do this at home. He already knew how to dance with it. And he had this huge flat session, and this being came out to his room. He experienced this. He described this being as. Have you seen the movie The Hitchhikers of the Galaxy?
No, I read the book though.
There's a book. Yeah, there's this Groot, this like a little tree person, and this Groot being show up in his room, and he said. First thing, he looked at his body as this, like the wires and streams of energy. And there were two like major cables just like flipping around. And he said, I'm going to put my hands into you. Just don't be scared. He was so scared. And he just connected those two cables together. And when he done it, all of his pain and fears and sorrow just disappeared just like that. And it was that simple during using this technology to fix his beingness. And he said, you are a human. You're being born, you live, you die. You're being born, you live, you die. I am unbroken stream of consciousness, which is lasting like as long as Iboga spirit is, which is almost forever. If you want, I can guide you through life being a human. And he got so fascinated by it, and he done it so many times.
I've never heard of people doing it that many times before, because I kind of thought it was like a one and done, like you do it to get free from what you need to get free from, and then 50 times. All right, so he's using it as a
He said he stopped counting at 50. He stopped counting.
You know what's interesting to me, and I'll have to investigate this a little bit more. So I've heard this. I heard this, can't remember his name, but there was a guy, since you mentioned comedians, Theo Vaughn had a man on his podcast
I love
talking
him.
about ibogaine. Mm-hmm. And he mentioned the heart, and you mentioned the heart as well. And it's interesting is like Chinese medicine wise, the heart is the emperor of the body, or the empress of the body, or the divine one of the body. And as the heart beats, it's like a camera. Every heartbeat is like a camera, imprinting your current experience on the blood as it moves through your heart. So it's like imprinting your blood with your human experience. So there's something very profound about the impact on the heart with ibogaine, and how that can be disrupted and potentially really disturbed in a way. So I can see how it's operating on the heart, and it's operating on all that pain, all that memory, all of that past experience that's stored in the body. So there must be, there's got to be something energetically or spiritually, and more the spiritual organ of the heart, not the actual physical heart.
Yes, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And Tobias also mentioned he is a really superbly intelligent persona. On the scale of being a human, it's like way on the very top. And he said he felt like 2 or 3 years old with this being.
That's great.
I asked him a question. Do you think that this being was trying to learn something from you? He said, definitely not. The level of wisdomness between us was like...
Wow.
So that gave me a lot of thinking where we are on this scale of the universe as humans.
Yes. I mean, we all are a never-ending stream of consciousness. That is what we are. We're in human bodies, but we are a never-ending stream of consciousness. And so,
but there's this veil of forget. Like we forget, we don't remember. Do you think it's a good idea to be a human and do not remember?
I mean, I feel like I remembered. I feel like with all those hero doses you're doing, you remember too. And I think that's where the game
Yes.
gets to be unlimited. I mean, I had a friend say to me the other day, she was like, well, you live life just like I do, on the edge, and you take risks. And I was like, I don't really feel like I live life on the edge because I have my own back and I have God. Like it I don't feel like I feel like I could do anything.
Mm-hmm.
And whether that's no rules to the game. But I think when you get to a certain place within yourself where you are in direct contact with that stream of infinite consciousness, then it's a lot of like F around and find out energy. Like, why not? Why not? Why not create this thing? Why not do this thing? Why not move to this place? Why not talk to this person? Why not?
I love that the question. Why not? Let's see how
Yeah.
this may get beautifully crazy.
Because what's going to happen? I mean, it's going to be good, bad, neutral, amazing, miraculous. Who knows? It doesn't really matter. It's just more experience. And I'm not talking about doing something destructive or putting yourself in harm's way, but it's like, as infinite beings who are unlimited streams of consciousness that have been here before and will continue on, why not? I think that takes so much pressure and so much weight and so much fear off everything,
Yeah.
and like, let's stretch even more.
I love that. That's a beautiful mindset.
Yeah.
That's the mindset to play the game, unlimited game of unlimited.
Right.
Why
Right.
not?
Left, up,
It's just
down.
it's the next level, It's the next game on the
Yeah.
horizon.
Yeah. And I mean, if we're here to experience life, then we better do that. That is our job.
We have spoken privately that you're a big fan of amazing persona who is Lubomir Arsov. We,
Yeah.
we were lucky enough. He was our guest. It was a huge honor to talk to him. He's such a beautiful being, and the way he talks is just way beyond the scale. I told him that I couldn't resist to tell him that at the beginning of the podcast. Like,
Yeah.
how do you do this? How you find that inner wisdom to speak such a beautiful words and language? And his work, I would like to ask you about his work. For those who don't know, he's an author of probably the most amazing animations out there. In Shadow, Modern Odyssey, and there's a new one which is called The Kingdom, right? How do you view his work, and how do you view what are the core messages of these animations?
I mean, I saw Kingdom first. I think I've also seen In Shadow, I think. I must have. But I think that as you're speaking about it, I mean, one thing that I think very few people have the gift both of words and of imagery. And I think his gift with his imagery and his verbal articulations around his ideas are both equally powerful and impactful. And I think I don't see a lot of people that usually, if you have that gift of imagery, if you can depict what you feel and think in images with no words, to also be able to speak into it is really phenomenal. So I think but again, what lives within him that he does speak into is you can feel it. So when you watch, is it just Kingdom or The Kingdom? Kingdom? I think it's just Kingdom. When you watch Kingdom,
Check
it's
this.
so visceral. It's so evocative. The imagery so clearly depicts the emotions and the feelings and the process and the journey of, what we all experienced or what many of us, what was experienced in 2020. It's it just so beautifully, perfectly depicted all of the different emotional tones and all of the different parts of the initiation and the awakening and the coming to and the coming back to. And it detailed the journey that so many people had and so many people had, before that in their own way, shape, or form. I mean, it's the getting propagandized and silenced and then choosing differently. I mean, that's the story of all of us in one way, shape, or form. And it was felt. It was felt in the body. And then the way that he articulates it is also incredible, because he's got that soft spoken, but that very embodied wisdom about to describe that process. And he's also very hopeful as well.
Kingdom is very hopeful. In Shadow,
Yeah.
Mother Not to say, it took him almost 4 years to write a screenplay for that. 4 years, and the animation is only 12 minutes long. That's a long
Damn.
time. That's a lot of
That
work.
is a long time. Yeah.
And there is a lot of darkness and shadow in this one. And the kingdom is such a very hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see that. I mean, it's like, I want to say it's available for all of us. I want to say that. I want to believe that. But then I also, unfortunately, I am in contact with quite a lot of people that are like fighting tooth and nail to stay the same. And there's part of me that wants to, grab them by the hand and be like, it's really good over here. Just come over here. It's not that hard. But, they are where they want to be, or where they find comfort. So, I think there's the saturation of coherent frequencies, like the more people who are embodying and living in a coherent field of possibility and potential, and less chaos and more no levels to the gameness. That is a saturation point that turns the tide. So I believe in that.
The question which popped up to my heart right now is, it could be a little bit also funny. Do you have any addictions? Some not necessarily bad addictions, maybe some healthy addictions.
Yeah, it's funny. I was just realizing over the last couple of days, I'm like a voracious student. And so I like to read and I like to listen. And I just realized, like, just last night, I was like, all of this is trash. I've heard all the, like, not the things that I'm like learning about, but I realized that my consumption of information is preventing me from listening to myself. So I would say that addiction to like listening to more stuff, learning more stuff, wanting to read more stuff, wanting to consume more stuff, my level of consumption is far outweighing my creation right now. And there are things that I need to create. So I would say that's my consumption is my go-to, like body's healthy, diet's healthy, relationships are healthy. But I have some things that I need to be focused on right now, and I'm allowing the consumption of information to pull me away from those things. So that's a distraction, and it's a way for me to avoid what I really need to look at, what I need to do. So I would say that, yeah, consuming information under the guise of learning and discovering.
That's very deep. What you just said, that maybe each of one can ask the question: are we creating more or consuming right now in our life? That's a very interesting question to ask yourself.
It is, because we can consume endlessly right now.
There's
And
like mainstream, most people, like 90 something percent, is mostly consuming, like watching Netflix, and just like Alan Watts said, people rush from work to home just to see the magnetic footprint of life of others, which could be very sad, right?
very sad, very sad. Yeah. And I've definitely had my times with, it's funny because we're talking about so many different medicines, I've had my times with like drugs and alcohol. And, just realizing when I was using something or if I was enjoying something. And I feel like there isn't anything that is, the only thing that I reach for to distract myself or to quiet things down is information. So, I could be listening to Alan Watts. I could be listening to Alan Watts like 6 hours a day, and it would still be something that was preventing me. It would still be consumption. You know what I mean?
But yeah, but referring to alcohol, he was a heavy drinker. He was drinking
Oh, he was.
yeah, he was
I
drinking
didn't know that.
1 liter of gin every day, which is a really, I
Dang.
think he even died out of liver failure in his sleep.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, you know what's funny is that I had I had my IQ tested as a little girl, because they're like, oh, she knows some things. We're gonna make her take a test. And my mind, when I was younger, was so active and so intense. When I discovered when I discovered weed, when I discovered cannabis and alcohol, I was like, oh, thank God I can stop thinking so much. And it was like I very purposely killed some of those brain cells. I think when you have an overactive mind, to quell the intensity and the speed at which you were thinking is, I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I'm not surprised to hear that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was raised I was born in Central Europe in alcohol culture. Everyone was drinking back then. My
Yeah.
grandparents, my parents, they were like hardcore alcoholics, and maybe we have it in our DNA, maybe not. Uh, I say nowadays that alcohol is a very old technology, very
Totally. Yeah.
very, very outdated, and it's
Yes.
probably the most dangerous substance out there.
Right. Yeah. 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 Other than fentanyl or something.
Yeah, fentanyl is. I had a dream today that I was about to take a fentanyl because maybe
Really?
yeah. Actually, I think I even
Wow.
took it in I had been recording a podcast in Poland with the very amazing persona. He's like a dark prince of comedy, probably the most talented comedian in Poland. And
Really? Oh,
his friend was diagnosed for end stage cancer, and he got a huge box of fentanyl. The system just gave it to him. There was like, I don't know, a couple hundred bottles in the
damn.
and he's like a patient zero because he was able to quit it himself. That's he shared this whole story on the podcast,
Wow.
and he said he loved it so much. Like he said, like if we looked at the peak experiences available for humans, fentanyl is number one. But he said,
Dang.
don't take it. Like, don't even if you started,
Yeah.
your chances to survive are very close to zero.
I mean, I think it's interesting is like opioids. I mean, if you think about uppers or downers, like opioids, I've heard that, it feels like you're back in the womb or you're getting a hug from God. If you need to anesthetize a certain level of pain, those are going to be the bangers. Those are going to be the good ones. I was anesthetizing pain myself, but I was also anesthetizing just the speed and the intensity of my mental capacity. So I think it's like right medicine for the right problem. So if you need to feel like you're back in the womb, then that's your medicine.
Do you have some experiences with medicines like San Pedro or peyote, the one
I
which
do.
opens up your heart? These are beautiful,
Yeah.
right?
It's funny. I have like 10 San Pedro cactuses in my yard now.
Lucky you.
Yeah, that was actually the last journey I took was San Pedro, and I hadn't touched psychedelics for quite a long time because I did so much exploration, earlier in my life, and I was like, well, the doors are open, so I'm good. But yeah, I did San Pedro in Peru with a group of people on a retreat. It was interesting because some of the people on the retreat had never like smoked pot before, and we had a wide age range, and everyone had to agree to do it. And everyone agreed. Everyone was like a full yes to it. So we had, different people had different experiences. Some people, again, like never even smoked, took a hit off a joint or anything. And they're like, yeah, I'll do this. So it was a great exploration. And I just, yeah, yeah. I would say it's not the biggest heart opening I've ever had. That has come through breath work more than anything.
So the
But
biggest one was through the breath work, right?
yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah. The first time that I ever did breath work, I felt a sense of like I felt like I was on Molly but I was just high on my own supply,
Yeah.
and I felt more love for myself than I'd ever felt before in my life, and I also felt more love for everybody in the whole world.
What
I
kind of
felt that
breath technique was it?
it's the one that I offer. It's not my teacher's name is David Elliott. It doesn't it's an inhale exhale. So it didn't start with him, he didn't make up inhale exhale. But it is, it falls under the same umbrella as, every other type of trauma healing, emotional release breath work, Wim Hof, holotropic,
Holotropics, yeah. Hmm.
yeah, conscious connected breathing. They're all the same in what they do. Yeah.
I have a funny story. I think I never shared it on the podcast referring to San Pedro. I went to Ecuador and we went way deep down to the jungle to Tai Tai, who was like even above the shaman, like the top healer in their culture. And we had a session with San Pedro. It was superbly strong. It was a lot of it. And I just couldn't manage these streams of unconditional love. It was
A
just
lot.
overwhelming. He was like grounding me. There was this tree of life, Argo de la Vida, I think that's how they call it. He was just dropping this enormous energy of love. Like my beingness, my body wasn't ready for that much love, and it lasted for like maybe an hour, maybe longer than that. and
Wow.
and 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 then we went up to this structure that was like a saint geometry, like 10 feet above the ground, and he said, what would help you? And I said, like, honestly, I would love a drink. And then here you go. And imagine that in the middle of the jungle he had an alcohol in the powder version.
No.
I didn't even know that such a thing exists. He had like a huge bag of alcohol in powder, and he was
Wow.
superbly and he said, "You know what? We are going to have a drink with you, all of us." It was like
Yes.
5, 6 people, and that the drink was very strong. I think I had 2 drinks, and it really helped me. Like it dissolved those thought processes, and we start laughing at life. That life is a joke, and we were laughing for maybe an hour. I was crying. Like I stopped. I can't make it anymore. Just
Yes.
looking at you. They were laughing at me, and I was
Yeah.
laughing at myself.
Yeah. It's
Well, it was
so
one of the best
wild.
moments in my life. Like
Ah,
Jesus Christ.
I love that so much. I think it's wild. It's not often that we get blown out in our capacity to hold joy. Like, that's interesting, because that's one of those things that we want, right? But then it's like, this is too much, Sometimes we like, it's like blowing your circuits open or something to feel that much energy and that much like glee and delight and just open.
Yeah, I went for a ayahuasca session here in Chicago. We have a really amazing woman here working with ayahuasca, and it was also like my mind thought this is way too much. I was going through those membranes of madness, literally madness. I was
Yeah.
standing there and it was like one madness and just pushing you through the membrane to another madness. And I went to that ayahuasca and I told her, really, I this is like beyond my capacity of perception. And she looked me right into eyes and she said, you haven't seen anything yet. Just go to your place. If it's going to get really bad, then we will manage the situation. Right now, you are just fine. And I thought, well, okay, let's try
Yeah,
to.
which is true.
Yeah, I just got a couple more hours to go through this hell, and we'll be
Right?
fine.
Where are you trying to get to?
The lesson was that she told me in the morning that our mind set a limit for itself, and it creates an illusion, and it tells you if you pass this point, you're not going to survive. And it took me 1,000 membranes to understand it. I was that stubborn to learn that lesson. I didn't know, you know. I was instead of just understanding it, I was resisting. I was just. But then the understanding came that there is no limit. The mind is the limit which mind is creating. This point, this horizon, is it's just a pure illusion.
Is that what you are seeking to find or understand?
Well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm mostly seeking for peace, for the peace of mind, for this. Not like I'm not looking for something like a lot of people is chasing some big dream. It's just right now I would love to be in this calmness, peaceful state, which is very hard for me to reach, to get. I'm trying, you know. I'm really trying to. Like my mind is probably like yours. I'm not sure do I have HD, but a lot of people that a lot of us have this ADHD, which cause a lot of anxiety, depression, and also a lot of addictions.
Yeah, my mind isn't like that anymore. Yeah, it is a peaceful place to be. You know, punctuated by occasional irritation and disappointment, but yeah.
Acupuncture helped you a lot on this way, as a tool.
Breathwork helped me a lot. Yeah, acupuncture helped my body get stronger, but breathwork helped me. Breathwork helped me. And then, the initiation of the loss of my sister, and then also I had wasn't a near-death experience because I didn't see the white light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't cross over. I didn't see my body, but I did almost die. I almost didn't make it. It was a close call. We'll just say it was a close call. But that was another initiation that was restructured my being and gave me an additional like massive dose of faith and trust in the correctness of all experiences, and faith and trust in the miracle of the body, and just the rightness of the way that life unfolds. And so I think, it was the emotional excavation primarily, because there isn't like, it just feels like emotional bloodletting. And when you metabolize the things that kick up, that disrupt peace and harmony inside, then there's a lot more peace and harmony inside, so.
You are also a Reiki maestra?
Yeah, I don't really practice it anymore. I'll use it on myself occasionally, but yeah, I don't really practice it anymore. But I am that, yeah.
Do you think it's a good tool to get to this peaceful state?
It's funny. The reason that I wanted to learn it was because I had a really bad experience with it. Mm-hmm. So I actually, my second Reiki experience, and someone was just giving me some free sessions, as part of their course of study. I felt like I was having a bad trip. And I felt like I was wanting to crawl out of my skin. It was so uncomfortable. And I was like, oh, this can do that? Well, I want to learn how to do that then. And I think that it's, when I think of like the laying on of the hands, I always think of, Jesus and the Bible, like, hands-on healing. So I think to be able to know that you can conduct universal life force energy through your own body and through your own hands, and the touching of your own body in a loving, considered way to transmit attention and care to your own body, I think that's very significant. Yeah.
And you are also a herbalist. I would love to ask you about your diet.
Yeah.
Because that's what helps the body a lot, right?
Yeah. I mean, my diet, I gotta say, I was raised vegetarian, and then both my brother and I were diagnosed as failure to thrive. So we were like not growing, and we were little skin and bones kids. And our parents introduced meat at that point in time, and I wanted no part of it. I didn't want to eat animals. But as I've come back around, I've been eating meat for probably, I don't know, 20 years or something like that, half my life. Eating a lot of animal protein is amazing. I've never had more energy in my life. I'm at a point where I'm trying to like lift weights and build muscle. And that feels like the endurance, the stamina, the discipline, and the energy that I get from how I'm treating my body now is like so good.
Mm.
Yeah.
So what do you mostly eat right now, like on daily basis?
I don't like cooking, so I eat all the same stuff basically. I have bone broth in the morning, and I have Greek yogurt with blueberries and honey and bee pollen. I have a grass fed ancestral beef blend with like hearts and livers and stuff in it, with arugula and avocado and sauerkraut and cheese for lunch, and then whatever I want for dinner. Usually something a little bit lighter, but yeah. Lots of grass-fed beef jerky and fruit, pretty much.
That's
Yummy
interesting
stuff.
what you're saying about eating that animal proteins.
Yeah.
We had a guest on our podcast. She's an ayahuasca and she came back to eating meat after 7 years.
Mm.
She said she like didn't have energy like, and when she came back to eating meat, that a lot of strength. So
Yeah.
it's not for everyone, right?
It's not for everybody. It's
Hmm.
definitely not. But I think finding what works for you, finding what works for you. We eat bison, and I'm always trying to eat, like buy from people who are, treating animals as well as they possibly can. So I think eating healthy animals is a good thing. But yeah, I never, it's funny, I talked about like exercise for the first time on Instagram, and I think people thought that I was going to like launch a fitness program or something. And I was like, no, I sell self actualization. I don't sell fitness and diet, but people like to, yeah, I don't know. A lot of people are looking for a magic bullet or a formula. And, you have to know yourself and know what you like and know what feels good in your body to know what's good for you. So I found it for me.
So there is a magic bullet, right? Because some people
For
say there's.
me, yeah. For me, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
You have also mentioned when we spoke privately that you help people who manage, who own healing businesses to grow, right?
Yeah.
To make more money.
Yes.
How is that
Hmm.
going? Would you be some kind of elaborate on this?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I think again, it's like what I notice whether it's healing or whether, anything connected to growth and evolution, you have to want it. You have to want it because you can lay magic bullets at people's feet and they won't do it. They have to be internally motivated. They have to be spiritually motivated. Their heart has to have that desire because, like anything that we want in life, we have to walk through some fires to get there. So I love to help people make money in their business, but I find that this is a little bit of a crossroads I'm getting to, is that you can give people all the strategy. They can pay you for your wisdom and your knowledge. And I've been doing this full time for 15 years. So I've got like a relative degree of understanding of how to build a sustainable business. People can still let their fears about being seen and their fears about being potentially judged or criticized, or I think core wounds get in the way of more growth always, whether that's making more money or making more impact or getting over, the place where you are holding so much pain and internal chaos in your being. So I love to give people the roadmap, and I find that there are more people that won't take it than people who will. Yeah.
What do you think would
But
be a good idea for a business in the near couple months or years? Where the universe is going? What people are willing to pay for? We have those AI agents right now taking over, and I
yeah.
think we're approaching this age, just an age of contemplation, when we have
Yeah.
in the future we have a lot of time and we have to do something with it, right?
Well, I think like we kind of spoke about, the more digital and the more, the more digital the world gets, the other extreme is human connection and humans gathering. So I think any place where people can get together and be with other people and connect and share and speak and eat food together and talk about their human experience, like adventures, retreats, I think are going to be, that would be a great idea. If you have an experience to share with people and you can gather people out in a beautiful experience out in nature, walking with their feet on the earth, like just normal human stuff, eating meals together, in contemplation together, in movement together, and in a masks off, unfiltered kind of way. I do these breathwork healing groups, and people are always kind of surprised at the vulnerability that people come in there with and what they reveal and what they share. And I'm like, this is natural. This is, humans know how to do this. We know how to do this. We've been gathering in groups and sharing storytelling and processing since the very beginning, whether it was sitting around a fire, sitting around a dinner table, on horseback, in the forest, in ritual and ceremony. We know how to do this. So you can mesh your brain with ChatGPT, or you can come and sit and cook a meal with somebody and talk about what's going on in their life. And the level of it's like all the dopamine hit chasing that people do. It's that consumption over creation. If people are going to, if the digital world is infinite and limitless, it's not ever going to give you the same kind of satisfaction or relief in your body and your spirit as looking someone in the eyes and receiving a hug, in being really seen, heard, felt, witnessed, and known by another person. Your laptop can't do that for you. Your phone is never going to do that for you. No matter how validating and inspiring and encouraging your AI agent is, it's never, ever going to be able to give you the same level of feeling witnessed and known that another human being can give you. So anything that we can do where we can connect and experience and be in a coherent field with another human being is going to be something that will be prized and treasured and valued, even more so going forward.
Such beautiful words. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Are you in the process of writing a book right now?
Oh my goodness. I feel like is that in my bio somewhere? It's probably in my bio.
No, I actually work a little bit with Grok AI, and I ask about you. And
oh, cool. All right. I
the
register
deep
on
search
Grok.
find the information that you are in the process of writing your first book.
I love it. I love it. That has been deleted from my bio because I'm like, am I ever going to write a book? I don't know. I wanted to write a book for a long time. And if I will write a book remains to be seen. I feel like I've got a book that wants to emerge because I love writing, but what it'll be about and who it'll be for is unknown. So I always write, I'm writing all the time, but for a book, not specifically. But we'll see. We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. Because I have a lot to say. So
But maybe that's a beautiful thing to write a book which will never reach that end point. That
oh,
could be very
true.
satisfying, right?
True.
Just a
It
book,
could
just a
be.
book for yourself, right?
Okay, never considered that. Thank you for putting that in the field. Yeah, it could be satisfying. I do like recognition though. I do like to be, so I don't know. I might need public review. That might be more satisfying for my soul, but we'll see. We'll see. You never know. Possibilities are limitless.
I would like to, at the end, would like to ask you this question, which is superbly challenging. What would be the ultimate question you would ask? You would love to be asked. The question maybe you've been waiting for all your life. What would be the
God,
question?
wow.
The one which is something which is the closest to the core of essence of your heart or of your beingness? You don't have to answer that question. Can just.
Well, you ask everyone this question and everybody answers, yeah?
It's very challenging for people. It's usually like, okay, I need some time to. For most of people, it's very, very challenging.
I've got one that came up like relatively right away, and I'll just give you the backstory on it. And I've got some emotion around it, even though it might sound like very simple. Yeah, I think this would be my current version of the question. I don't feel fully understood by very many people. And I feel like even in some of my close relationships, I often have to correct assumptions about who they think I am and how I think. And so the first question that comes up for me, and again, this is not particularly profound, but it would be for someone to ask me, like, how did you become who you are?
So how did you become who you are? I'm asking you. We ask you. The universe is asking you through ourselves.
Yeah. And I feel like I've answered bits and pieces of it in this already.
In this podcast. Right?
Yeah, definitely. Because the part of who I became who I was what I had to confront, what I had to be initiated into, how I had to have my mind blown, what I had to feel, what I had to be willing to confront. And I've spent a lot of time alone in my life. Some by choice, some by universal assignment. And so I've had a lot of time, a lot of contemplation, and a lot of time to get to know myself really well. And I would say as a child and as an adult. And every experience that I've called into my life has allowed me to become who I am. And it took a lot. It took a lot. It took a lot of willingness and a lot of courage. A lot of courage to do it. And I feel like that's the same way for everybody.
Thank you so much.
Everyone's, yeah, you're
such emotional way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you still looking for this understanding from people?
You know, I think when I receive it, it is like such a gift. And it happens in bits and pieces, and it happens with different people in different ways. Because I think people are so fascinating in their chemistry together. It's like every human you ever get in a relationship or interact with, like you and I have never met before, but there are things that you're asking me about that are different than other people who haven't known me before are asking me. And like our energy is always going to result in a particular like tone and frequency. So I feel like when I feel known, it's a huge celebration. And when I don't, it's okay. And I know that I get like a little bit of knowing from this person and a little bit of knowing from this person and a little bit of knowing from this person. If it happens in a larger way, I feel like it's usually, honestly, it's probably more in like romantic relationships, like more like romantic partnerships. Those are the ones like I'm going to step into a field of being known that's broader and wider than, you know, family or friends. And that's like mind blowing to be known in so many different ways by somebody. But yeah, it feels like a it feels like a relief in my spirit to be like, oh, this person really understands me. They get it. Yeah. And I just think that's a core human need, right? To be known, to be witnessed and known.
Would you agree when we spend a lot of time alone, which is very, maybe I could would say popular. It's becoming very popular right now. A lot of people. There's even this trend. If you look on YouTube and other big algorithms, there's I see that the algorithm is promoting loneliness, and I think Nietzsche said that, and even Charles Bukowski, one of my favorite writers, that loneliness is a gift, is a blessing. And when we finally start spending time alone, we can connect with our subconscious mind. If we spend a lot of time with other people, there is a huge amount of quote noise, right?
Depending on who we're with.
Yeah, of course, but
Yeah.
But if you want to go like very, very deep, that noise could be an obstacle to connect with our.
Could be.
Could be.
Yeah. Well, I feel like, I think it's clear that aloneness and loneliness are very different, because you can be, if you're lonely, you're not really connecting with your subconscious. You're probably watching 10 hours of Netflix and on your phone and doing whatever. Like you're avoiding yourself when you're lonely because you don't want to be. That's not a choice. That's something that's happening to you. Or yes, it is. Everything's a choice. But I think like a alone time where you're in enjoyment and some of my adult life alone time was that I enjoyed being alone more than I enjoyed being with other people, because I had more fun with myself. And it was more noise being with other people. So I feel like if you choose alone time, then you can choose contemplation, you can choose creativity, you can choose like streams of thought and creation to come through you. But if you're spending time alone where you're just trying to get away from yourself, that's a whole different story.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end, I can share one more example that's really mind-blowing. It happened 2 days ago, referring that the life is a game. This is like a level master, like the level boss,
Yeah.
As you mentioned, I also love to walk barefoot. And
Yes.
here in Chicago, we're lucky, very lucky that there is a beautiful wilderness right across the street. Beautiful wilderness.
Good.
And I walk there every day, hour and a half.
Wow.
When I reach the point when there's a lot of like grass and there's a forest, I take off my shoes, and I usually tie them to my backpack, and I'm in this process of getting off kratom, and it's using an enormous amount of energy. I'm already off 3 weeks, but it's still I just focus on. I'm trying to do only things which are necessary right now, and so there's a lot of things happening within me, like it's using a lot of energy, and that shoe just fell off. It was getting dark, and when I realized that it fell off, I had only one shoe hanging in there.
No.
I thought, okay, it's already dark. I'll pick it up tomorrow, and I came home, and when I was in my bed, I started to look for some kind of like a music which can put you up to sleep, and the algorithm suggested a video. It had a beautiful title, like "It's time to go to sleep," or "You really need to rest." And I think it was in Las Vegas. It was a beautiful sunset, and there were cars riding on a highway. Such a beautiful sunset, and it was shown in like a slow motion. And I work a lot with AI, and I was thinking, is it done by AI or is it someone just filmed it?
Right.
And then suddenly something within me told me, there is a billboard out there, just zoom in and see, and then you will see if it's done by AI or if it's done by human.
Can you tell?
And I zoom in 600%.
Okay.
And on the billboard it says it was advertisement for the show, which is called Cinderella.
Okay.
And Cinderella lost a shoe.
Oh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me.
Wow.
Like this is the you know, the eye of life is looking you right into the eyes. See,
Yes.
this is that's the level you reach right now. If you have any questions,
I love it.
I didn't
I
find the
love
shoe
it.
next day.
Did you walk home on the streets of Chicago with one shoe?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I walked barefoot, so I love it. So.
Okay. Even on the sidewalks
Yeah, even on the sidewalks.
in the city? Damn. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
Gonna wash those feet when you get home. I feel like since you're a lover of Charles Bukowski, which I am as well,
yeah, I love it so much.
I can't quote him exactly, but there's something that he says, and it's about getting into your last day thoroughly used up. You know that quote?
Yeah.
It's like used up, like you spent everything. And I think like the idea of living life like a game and us being a unlimited stream of human consciousness that has no beginning and no end, like to live your life like that, to have so much aliveness that you just like continue to just suck the juice out of life and continue to immerse yourself in experiences until you are used up. You've spent every last cent, every last, whatever millimeter of your energy, and you drop the body off and emerge into another one. It feels like game or no game, to live fully while we're here is the goal.
I love it. And sadly or not, I think I live it like this every day. I'm used up every day, pushing myself. Like you said, you don't have this feeling that you're living on the edge. I have
don't.
this. I think I live on the edge all the time, and I love it.
I mean, I hope if you like it, great. That's great. I mean, however you're living, I hope it's how you want to be living and that it feels good for you.
That's another question. I'm not sure. I'm trying to change.
Trying to change the subject?
No, I'm trying. I'm trying to change the way I live on the edge because it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I feel like
No, not changing the subject. No, the subject is really. It's the best.
Yeah.
It's a right subject for this moment.
Yeah. I mean,
there's this beautiful poem of Charles Bukowski called "Go All the Way," or "Don't Even Start." It's such a powerful.
Yes, I've heard that.
Go all the way.
I love that one. I just heard that for the first time, just like probably like last month. I love that one. That's so good.
You be dancing alone with the gods, and you will go all the way. It can mean mockery, freezing on the bench, losing girlfriend, losing your mind. Go all the way.
Hell yes.
On his grave, it says, "Don't try."
Just don't try.
Just don't try. It's very provocative here.
That's so good. I had someone say to me the other day, "Oh, I hope I can make it, or I hope I can watch it." I'm like, don't hope, watch it, sign up. What is this BS? You hope you can? It's Yoda. Do it or don't do it. There is no try.
Yep, exactly.
But you have to know, you have to want it. You have to know that you want it, not just hope you want
it. I would like to also mention that as a Beyond the College, we support this amazing foundation, which is called the Gift of Heart, based here in Chicago. In the last 40 years, a group of amazing people were able to literally save the life of 1,500 kids. We'll place all the links in the description. Is there anything else you would like to add, Erin, today, to wrap it up?
I think
this amazing conversation, which I'm super grateful for.
Don't try, skid into life used up is a nice place to end, and offer your heart and what you have to benefit the world and contribute. Save some kids, save a life, change a life. But yeah, use yourself up. Use yourself up. Not to your detriment, to your joy and your aliveness and your contribution.
I love that. That's a beautiful conclusion. If someone would like to get in touch with you, work with you, how people can contact you?
ErinTelford.com. Everything's there.
And
yeah, say hi.
What are your plans for like this year? Any big dreams?
For this year, I mean, my main dream is going to sound very pedestrian, but I have been very blessed in my life to have amazing men in my life and amazing relationships. And I feel like I have, the biggest experience that I want to have right now is to build and grow a life in partnership with somebody.
That's a beautiful
And
dream
yeah,
and
that's
superbly
what
challenging nowadays.
well, I mean, I've had before and I'm going to have it again. That, yeah, like that feels like a heart expedition. That is the most life-giving experience that I could possibly want right now. Career for me is important always because I love to share, I love to work, I love to contribute. Creating a leadership offering is next for me, and seeing what else I'm here to do. I feel very content in my spirit and in my heart, in my life. I feel very healthy. I feel very alive. And I feel very, I don't have anything pushing me that needs to be made or needs to be done right now. So it's really just what feels like the next right step. And we'll see what that continues to be, because there's going to be a lot more next right steps. And I'm just going to keep meeting the moment. So that's where I'm at.
Well, congratulations on creating such a beautiful, magical, holistic life. Oh, well,
Thank you.
I
Thank
really
you.
admire.
Feels good. Feels good.
So,
Yeah.
so that inner work pays off, right?
It sure
It
does.
sure does.
It really does. Yeah, it does. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, everyone, thank you so much for such an amazing conversation. Great energy. Love your smile. Erin
Thank
Telford was
you.
our guest today. Thank you so much. Please send us comments who you would like to see as our next guest, and we wish you a beautiful day. And I'm sending you to everyone a lot of universal love.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Robert Kane is Beyond the Courage.